Hi, Damian.
How are you doing today?
I feel very good. The
Yeah.
weather is amazing. The place is amazing where we have been.
Yeah, as you can see, very beautiful. Here we have the lake. I'm very glad that we are here again. Our second meeting. This time I am talking, so I feel a bit nervous. This is my first time. The weather is beautiful, as you said. Comparing it to the last shooting that we had in January, I think. You remember the weather, the freezing cold. We were like this. You know, after 2 minutes we wanted to go home, so I'm happy that we are here in this calm place, very relaxing. Today I would like to talk to you and share my thoughts regarding trauma. The weather perfectly ties with my feelings and my experience from the past, because during this time I remember that I would feel very anxious, you know? I would feel very uneasy when the spring would come and people would around me would be happy, would be talking, would be laughing. I remember that I would still be the same person filled with sadness and with unease. I've read somewhere about the fact that during this period of time between changing seasons, so winter coming into spring, people that are of depressive states of mind, very emotional, they have it hard to cope with this change of periods of time, you know? Because we are very finely tuned with nature, so it is natural for us to be a little bit more down during winter, and then when spring comes we are like full of energy, happy, going about our stuff, our daily task with more energy, being more powerful. So actually people that are more emotional and more prone to depression are more unbalanced during this period of year, when they feel that everything around them comes to life and they are left in the same state of sadness. And actually this was the case for me for a very long time, that I felt left out from the world that would be happy, and I would blame the things that on the surface made me uneasy. So just people, sun, weather, that I feel hot, that there's a lot of people around me, you know, you understand. And with time and again repeating those thoughts in my head, I started to understand that, hold on man, this is not the truth, that people, the weather, it's much deeper, you know? And then I started to think about trauma, about how to deal with it, how to dig in and understand what is the real problem of me feeling anxious, feeling uneasy. And that's why, like I said, this topic and this weather around us, they pair very well together for me personally. So during the time that I was meditating on what trauma is, I started to feel and think that I picture it as an air. Empty substance filling every empty space of my mind. And I would think about trauma as a silent companion, always around me and is with me in my life. And I think that for the biggest parts of people who had experienced trauma, it silently and unnoticeably controls them, the people that suffered from it. But this was my introduction into the topic, into what I feel about trauma. So what are your thoughts?
Well, The topic itself is very heavy, and I agree with you that it's not easy to talk about trauma. Once I heard someone say, trauma is not what happens to you, but what holds inside in the absence of an empathic witness. Actually, that hit me really hard because we carry it silently and sometimes we don't even know how much it affects us. And on the other hand, trauma not only psychologically but biologically affects our brain as well. We know that studies show that it can change how the process of the brain is working. The amygdala, what controls flight and freeze mode, can become overreactive. This is why we often feel anxious. It's not in the head, actually it is real.
What you said about biology I found very interesting, because not long ago I read a book. It is called What Happened to You. The book is co-written by professor psychiatrist Bruce Perry and a famous celebrity Oprah Winfrey. It is in the form of an interview. They talk to each other. Oprah Winfrey gives a perspective of a victim of trauma, when Bruce Perry talks about trauma from more biological, scientific point of view. And I must say that I found this book really helpful for me, and I would consider it a book that allowed me to rethink certain aspects of my past. And even the title itself, What Happened to You, is very giving because it removes sort of blame from the, let's say, victim. Very often people tend to ask, why are you like this? Or why did you do something like that? And instead, by asking what happened to you, you are feeling like you are not responsible for what happened to you. You are not a victim, you are just a person who suffered and tries to heal once again. What I found particularly interesting in this book was the idea that our brains are built naturally to feel first and then to think. So the first parts of our brain are the brains responsible for basic physical functionalities of our body. And then the higher we get, then our brain is responsible, the parts are responsible for creativity, for imaginative thinking, for understanding time and presence. So when we get signals from the surrounding world, for example, smells, vision, first, these signals are interpreted by those more primitive parts of our brain, that they are responsible for instinctive emotional reactions. This was very important for me during the journey of my healing, that we are not responsible for our feelings. If we feel that way, we cannot do anything about it. I feel my emotions and I have to acknowledge them. I cannot change my emotions. And only then I can start work on my attitude, on my behavior, by analyzing those emotions by my reason. But emotions are still there. I cannot do anything about the emotion. So that I found very telling about our brains. Let's try put it into perspective. For example, you experienced abuse in your adult life from, let's say, a bearded man. No judgment against bearded men, but let's imagine this as an example. So, if you experience this abuse and you have a memory of it, then it is easier for you to link the memory to the trauma that you experience. So you can see it, you can visualize it, you can start working on it. But if you're a child, the parts of your brain that are responsible for creating memories are not yet developed. So everything is processed by the parts that are instinctive, emotional, very rapid. And when you grow up and you are an adult, and let's say you go to the bus character, you see this person, right? Bearded man. You instinctively feel triggered. You feel anxious, you can experience panic attack. But what is the difference? If you are an adult, you have this memory, it is rational. It is hard, of course, to cope with it, but nonetheless, you see it, you can grasp why it is triggering you. But if you are a child, you can only feel it, and you don't know it. And that's for me a very dramatic situation for people who experienced trauma when they were young, because they don't know very often what happened to them. They don't have the vision and the understanding. So while I read it, I started also revisiting memories from my early childhood, or at least I was trying to do it. So having said that, I think it is very crucial to meditate on your past, which, as was said by William Faulkner, the past is not dead, it's not even the past. And I think that is incredibly true, that our past, they still live within us. So I think in order to start healing, we need to meditate on the triggers that we have, on the emotional reaction that our body experiences, and in that way we start the journey of healing. In order to start healing, we need to touch and see trauma. And I think that for the first step, it is very crucial that we have other person that could really help us with seeing what is inside of us. So basically, I feel that the emotions that we have within us are very entangled and complicated, and we don't have a very good perspective on what is really poisoning us. And when we talk with people, with therapists, you could be your friend, or for example, if you read books, for instance, the book that I mentioned today, it was very important for me to relive, to retouch certain aspects, because I found very similar patterns within the victims of trauma. I think that when we start talking aloud about our past and our emotions, those emotions are neutral and are formed, and only then we can start working on them, digging, analyzing, understanding. For me, this is the first and most crucial step, to understand, and before understanding, to see what really happened to us.
Damian, by the way, where are we? Because I'm sure that people are going to be curious about the place, about this forest or park.
Yeah, I agree. It's very beautiful, very green. It is Łazienki Park, located in Warsaw. And it is one of the biggest parks in Warsaw, in the city. It's very green, filled with animals.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah,
some.
yeah, exactly, yeah. We have ducks, we have peacocks, we have squirrels, and people very often come here to feed the animals. It is allowed, of course.
It is allowed to feed animals here?
Yes, but you have to pick the correct type of food for them, you know, it is
Really?
important. Yes.
But how can I understand which food can be?
There are, you know, like posters, informative, with naming each type of the food that you can give to each particular animal. And we are here, and it is very early in the morning, but despite that, we can see we are trying to avoid people, but there are very many people already in here, and there will be much more because the weather is perfect. So I love this place, I love coming here, I love enjoying the atmosphere of this place.
Do you come here often?
Yes, I tried with a book. Unfortunately, you cannot come here with your dogs, because dogs are not allowed here. But
Why so?
I don't know, to be honest. The same thing, you cannot ride a bike here. I think the dogs are not allowed because of the not to disturb animals, you know? You see? Two beautiful ducks just chilling in the sun, being as happy as we are with the spring.
They are beautiful.
Yes,
huh?
yes. The one on the right is very shy, I think. Oh, it's not shy.
Helps one is escaping.
But you can see that they're very, very familiar with people. They are not very scared.
Maybe they are expecting food.
Yeah,
from
food
us.
for sure, yeah.
I think their friends are also coming towards us. So, Damian, I guess we are end of our conversation.
Yes.
And how do you feel after all?
It was very fruitful. It gave me peace. Because always when you share, I think that you receive also a bit of peace. It helps you with healing and coping.
I can also see even you have a flower here.
Yeah, we found it. It's fake, but it's still, I will keep it as a token of, our visit here, so I don't forget it. I am sentimental, you have to remember.
Romantic Italian.
Yes. And I think we can wrap up, and I would like to stay here. We can have a walk and enjoy this Sunday. Like always, grab something to drink, and thank you for your conversation today with me.
It was always a pleasure to talk to you.
So thank you.
Thank
See you.
See you later.